All right, folks, good morning and welcome on back here this August 26th, this Thursday morning, live inside the Cyber Group Trading Room. If you're joining us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, this is not Fausto Pugliese, but welcome on back. My name is Josh Levitan. You may be familiar with the afternoon meetings I do. Great to see all of us, though. Let's get a quick sound check just to make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear, perhaps a little scratchy to begin. Frog my throat. My apologies. Great to see Ray, Bill, Debbie, William, James, Carol. Great to see everybody else live inside the Cyber Group Room. And again, if you're joining us on social media, welcome on back. So for right now, hey, ride. Nice pop to start off the pre-market. We ended up having a pretty short watch list for pre-market trading this morning. We had about 4 or 5 stocks. Ended up having a ride as one of them. There was news that came out on this trade early in the morning. So let me just get to that pretty quickly. I know Lewis had said like practically at 7 o'clock Eastern, 7:10 I see here. The news came out, Lordstown Motors ride. They ended up appointing Daniel Ninavagi. I probably butchered that last name, so my apologies to him. But they ended up appointing a new CEO, more or less. So, we ended up seeing this make a nice pop, much better run up than I thought that we were going to get, to be honest. But for the meantime here, hey, right now still holding strong, highly tradable, just tight spreads, very liquid order book here. So for right now, I'm definitely going to put it on our main list going into the market open. It also is shortable, and I always bring this up because if it doesn't end up continuing to push up and pop, then perhaps we could short it and follow it on the way down. So, what I wanted to do here really is just go through the picks that we had from yesterday. And to begin, let me just go right to this. The JFIN trade, this was one that was actually shortable yesterday. It seems to be hard to borrow this morning. I bring it up just because, hey, for the most part, pushing up yesterday, ended up dropping off right after we finished up the afternoon meeting, or practically as we were going through it. So I was saying, hey, if this could break a support, break a trend line, crap out the other way, this was a fantastic short heading into the end of the day, just as much as it was on the way up from the morning. So that's why I bring that up for a stock like Ride. Just because good news came out doesn't mean it's just going to continue to pop. Of course, we hope that it does. But nonetheless, there could be opportunity both ways there. All right. So, aside from the JFIN stock that we ended up trading yesterday, we had a pretty decent outing for Wednesday. So, mostly it was on the SPRT. I'll get to that next. But actually, TCAT, I want to get to first. So, TKAT, my dyslexia kicking in here, but stock ended up making a huge pop, exploded out over resistance off of $8, ended up making this huge run up towards just over $12.50 and came back down. So this is one of the digital art type stocks, the NFT stocks. If you're familiar with crypto, then you know about it. But if not, it's just to say it's a very hot sector. So it's something that you should be a little bit more informed about. There are stocks that are similar to this one here, TKAT. I don't know if they ended up trading as well. OCG, YVR, which didn't really make as big of a move. BBIG, I believe, is pretty similar. That ended up making a pop in the morning, ended up dumping off at least after the close, it looks like. But, more or less, you could just say, hey, when one pops, it's at least worth checking out a couple of the others just to see what they're doing. TCAP being the leader of this NFT digital art sector. So, either way, it's definitely a great side list stock. This one in particular, right now, it's down 7.5% this morning. So for right now, I'm not going to put it on the main list like I did with Ride so far, but, keep it on the back burner. If it ends up popping up, breaking through resistance, then I'll likely call it out. All right, then finally, of course, the SBRT trade, with which Wendy just called out right now in the trading room, saying worth watching, meaning, hey, right now. Holy smokes, look at this pop. Are you kidding me? I wasn't expecting that, Wendy. Oh my goodness. I mean, we saw it begin to squeeze up towards like 1460, 1470 right before we started the meeting, but damn, ended up just popping right over 15. So, we talked about this move practically. I mean, we did this move in class yesterday, the phase 2 stock course. I made it like almost like a mini phase 3 with Fausto's live trading class. But it's to say on the stock, I was in it from 1327, the opening bell print. I jumped in it from the afternoon once it broke over that price. But you can go back on that class to get the full analysis. It ended up more or less popping and dropping right from 15 off the first major test of resistance. So we were calling that out too in the class. But the drop off after. Man, this is really strong. The hell is going on with this SPRT trade support.com? What I do know about it, and we talked about this yesterday, the stock is very heavily shorted, very high short interest on this SPRT trade. There has been clearly for quite some time. But that's all I got. There's no other like real news otherwise that I remember. If there was news that started this whole run, it was back a week or 2 weeks ago at this point. All right, so needless to be said, hey, just like I said with Ride, for the most part, SPRT definitely going to put on the main list to begin. Cool. I'd just still be really wary about 15, though. I mean, it can keep going perhaps, but off that last shake, don't assume support's just going to hold perfectly at 15 right away. All right. So what we'll do, folks, is go from top to bottom now. Really, I want to make sure that we're all prepped, myself included. To be honest, normally when Fausto's doing this morning meeting, I'm here sitting silent and lining up my charts, getting my last licks in, my last preps in, and that's what we taught just going into yesterday's classes. So I'm going to try and go through this quick, but I'll try and be very efficient of course, as I go through. So the GSMG trade, I don't know why that happened. Glitch there. All right, this one's looking pretty good so far. It's up 53.5%. Beautiful trend, at least up off the lows. So the news out on this stock pretty quickly here. Glory Star shares trading higher after the company announced it had entered into a subscription agreement to purchase up to $10 million in ordinary shares and warrants at a fixed combined purchase price of $3.50. Does that mean the stock's going to go up to $3.50 like a buyout? I don't believe so. If it does, God bless. That would make our lives a lot easier in terms of a prediction. But yeah, for right now, it just seems like it's very choppy. It's more of a level 1 to 2 stock. So hey, I'll put it on our list. But if it ends up continuing to be as choppy here, choppy after the market opens as it is here, then I'd probably move on. Oh, nice pop here on NRXP, former runner too. So NRXP, just checking Benzinga Pro again quickly for news. I'm not going to recite it all today for you folks, but NRXP trading higher after the company announced it had signed an agreement with Cardinal Health. Blah, blah, blah. A whole bunch of stuff I can't pronounce otherwise. FDA approval on a drug. Potential FDA approval. So, nice big move so far, up 25+%. Obviously going to put this on our list too, NRXP. Look at the daily chart, though. Like, you could just see, like, that's where I was saying the stock has been a former runner for us in the past, but that doesn't mean that's a swing trade, right? Look at all these bigger bars on the daily over the last just like 3 to 4 months. They barely continued pushing up the next day. If anything, they dumped off. If not the next day, then within the course of the same day, really. All right, little tip before you jump on a broadcast: don't just drink coffee for the whole morning. A little dry in the mouth right here. So that's a little tip of the day. Right now, Triple U. We talked about this yesterday. Stock is up just about 19%, but making lower highs. So for right now, yeah, I'll put it on our list as it was on the pre-market list, but not as keen on this as I am on like the SPRT, as I am on Ride, even the NRXP. All right. Scan through, see what else we got, though. No other real familiar names. Just going to click around. PSTG, I was going to click here. Not much going on. I saw AEHR pop up early in pre-market on my Benzinga Pro signals page. Ended up getting a little choppy after the pop, and I don't know, not right now. Maybe if it ends up breaking out after the open, we'll call it out. KXIN, this thing's flat, unfortunately. This was looking great before 8 o'clock in the morning and very worthy of being put on our watch list early on. But damn, this thing, maybe after the open it can move. I'll keep it on our side list. If there's nothing else that we really put on our list from this point, I guess this will make it. It's like kind of first man on the bench. SPRT we talked about already. That was a great call from Wendy at the time. AMRX, let's take a look at this one. Also one that's kind of like sinking off, kind of like the KXIN. I mean, this one's actually just dropping a lot more. If anything, this stock I'm going to put on our list the same reason that I put JFIN on our list yesterday afternoon. It's shortable, right? And the same reason that, I kind of warn you, if Ride ends up dumping off and not pushing up higher, hey, AMRX has been that type of trade so far here in pre-market. Yeah, Skip, I got to convert over to T. I'm going to be a T guy at some point. JFU ended up making a small move earlier yesterday, but right now it's doing jack. Right now, not much going on here. All right, and that just about does it, folks, on the gainer side. If there's anything else that you see that looks good, let me know. Ride is pushing back up right now, mind you, so we'll come back to that stock just to show at the end, but that's definitely on our list, number one. Oh, actually, really quick, last one on the gainer side. I skipped over it. INO, Inovio Pharmaceuticals. So for anyone new joining us here as a new student or joining us on our streams, Facebook Live, YouTube, INO is one of the stocks, not the first, but it was one of the stocks that we ended up trading quite consistently over the pandemic. Going back into the beginning of 2020, ended up running up, dumping off. It was shortable a couple of days there, popped back up here and there. So very fun stock to day trade. Right now, making a big push up off of more news regarding their COVID vaccine. Right's like really pushing up right now. So the INO news, just really quickly, it looks like they ended up getting initiation on phase 3 segment of their trial of their drug. So that's pretty important, actually, because phase 3 is the last phase in regards to FDA approval. So that's pretty important. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and they got to meet primary and secondary endpoints officially. I'm not a pharmacist or any I have no experience with that medicine, with medicine sector or any of that. I just know what I read. So it's a matter of just saying, hey, this could be really good news on INO today. It could lead to a nice pop. Got to see a lot more buying coming in off 9. I'd assume after the market opens up. We started to see some prior to 9 a.m. at least. But look for another under and over, and perhaps from that point you'll get a run up. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list here. Market was pushing up nicely yesterday. I don't really know where the SPY is at right now. I didn't really check in prior to the open there, or prior to the meeting at least. SLQT, shortable, within our price range. I don't know what the news is on this stock. I'll check it out for right now. Down 33, or just about 33%. It looks like SLQT just earnings. Worse than expected Q4 EPS results, and then it looks like some firm RBC Capital lowered price target down to $13. Let's see, is this stock at all-time lows? That's the more interesting part to me. Shortable, is it at all-time lows? It looks like it. I'm on a monthly chart here, folks. So if I go back, let me just make sure I'm going back. Yep, 20 years. That's like just as much as I can go, I think. So yeah, this thing's at all-time lows. That's more interesting than anything else. So cool. We know what happens when a stock's at all-time lows, at all-time highs, or at least what happens more often than not. So this could be a really good short opportunity once the market opens up. YSG, perhaps you could say the same thing here. You know what I should have done on SLQT? I should have checked the volume day to day on that stock. At least for the YSG, at least this thing trades just around a couple million shares, 1 million shares a day. That's decent. If it has a pretty filled in order book, this could be worthy of a trade. Let me go back to that SLQT just to double check on that one. Yeah, this one's pretty tradable. Good. All right. So I'm more focused on the SLQT for right now. If this one ends up dropping off, then we'll call it out too. DLTR, a little expensive. ANF, don't really feel a need to. A lot of these clothing stores been getting a hit last couple of days. JWN Nordstrom, AEO American Eagle yesterday afternoon. Here's Abercrombie and Fitch. Pretty interesting. All right, folks, that's all I really see. I'm skimming right now. I'm scanning right now. I don't really see much else. Anything else that you folks see up, down, left, right, more than 5%, just let me know here in the chat board. I appreciate you dealing with my hoarse voice this morning. Nick says, don't forget a shot of bourbon. Hey, a little early for that, Nick. I got to say that. You don't know who's listening to this meeting here. Wink, wink. No, I would certainly wait till 4 o'clock Eastern for that at least. Lewis says he got a dollar on his position on RIDE. He entered at 583. He had an iceberg order at 689 still hanging out there. Yeah, so we were talking about that in the trading room. So we ended up seeing a resistance build up on this trade. We had called it out as early as 8 o'clock in the morning at 665. So, it broke above 65 and it was chopping around there for God knows how long. So in that time, more orders joined the ask. But there was one that was there for a little while, and that was at 690. Lewis called that out. I knew that was the next level ahead. And then from there, obviously 7. So for right now, I mean, hey, it's making a push up. Lewis was up a buck, got out. Nice. All right. So really, folks, I don't really see many other call outs live inside the trading room or at least on YouTube. Let me know. I'll run one more scan here just to see if there's anything I missed. ZKIN. I saw. Oh, actually, I saw this get called out before I started the meeting. Little pop here, pulled back. Right now, another little pop here as well. Pretty interesting. I'm sure news came out on it, and it's a former runner for us too. So I'll slip it on the list on the back end. But if it ends up continuing to dump off or pull back after the open, I would just move on. All right, folks, we'll call it for right now. I think that we have a pretty good list altogether. We don't need to force any stocks on our watch list. We have about 4 or 5 stocks on our list already that are pretty familiar names across the last week, across the last month or two. Either way, a lot of us are familiar with a few of these trades here between INO, Ride, SPRT, the AMRX actually too as well. So there's a lot to work with going into this market open. Just try and focus on a couple, maybe 3 stocks out of these. And if none of those that you choose from this list move within the first 5-10 minutes, then you focus on another, couple from the list, or you shuffle around, rescan the market. Or for us live inside the trading room, the 115 of us right now, a lot of us joining us here this morning, keep in mind for this, we're going to work together as a team live inside our trading room. You're going to hear my voice and hear the call outs that I make, but also, look at the chat board too. Look at what our fellow students and traders are typing in the trading room, our call outs, our posts and profits. Otherwise, it's not a matter of just, the bells and whistles and the oohs and ahs of the profits being posted, but why did our students get in? Where did they enter from? They'll post that there with their profit. And then last message here before I sign off, this is more for our trading room. So if you're on social media, I'll check back with you folks coming up at 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern. But otherwise, if you are a trial member live inside our trading room, we had a few of us joining us from yesterday's event. The last thing that we want you to do is to just start trading a stock that you have no idea how it's moving, why it's moving, trying to apply your strategy to a stock that really isn't the best stock to apply that strategy on. We're trying to follow the smart money, follow the big money at least, and look at the big iceberg orders. So for our students that are live inside our trading room, they've been doing this every single day of the week, every week of the month, and for a lot of us here, hell, a lot of years across the last decade, to be honest with you. So, these are students that are very experienced with using our strategy and using our call outs. So if you're a trial member, please just sit back, just kind of see if this is for you, observe the call outs, and then just make sure that you talk to your education advisor, and just they're here to walk you through what you have access to, and just they could answer any questions in between. All right, folks. But otherwise, again, I'll check back with everybody on social media later on today. And for all of us live inside the trading room, coming up right at 9:30, I'll be back on. Take care.